The Hebrew Bible, the 5 books of Moses, the book of Numbers, chapter 22. And the Israelites journeyed onward, and they camped in the steppes of Moab, across the Jordan from Jericho. And Balak son of Zippor saw all that Israel has done to the Amorite, and Moab was terrified of the people, for they are many, and Moab loathed the Israelites. And Moab said to the elders of Midian, "Now this assembly will nibble away everything around us, as the ox nibbles the grass of the field." And Balak son of Zippor was king over Moab at that time. And he sent messengers to Balaam son of Beor and Pethor, which is on the Euphrates, and his people's land, to call him, saying, "Look, a people has come out of Egypt. Look, it has covered the eye of the land, and it is sitting over against me. And so pray, go curse this people for me, for it is mightier than I. Perhaps I shall be able to strike against it and drive it out of the land. For I know that whom you bless is blessed, and whom you curse is cursed." And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian went with spells in their hand, and they came to Balaam and spoke Balak's words to him. And he said to them, "Lodge here tonight, and I shall give you back an answer as the Lord will speak to me." And the chieftains of Moab stayed with Balaam, and God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" And Balaam said to God, "Balak son of Zippor has sent me. Look, the people that has come out of Egypt has covered the eye of the land, so go hex it for me. Perhaps I shall be able to do battle against it and drive it out." And God said to Balaam, "You shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for it is blessed." And Balaam rose in the morning and said to Balak's chieftains, "Go to your land, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you." And the chieftains of Moab rose and came to Balak, and they said, "Balaam refused to go with us." And Balak, one more, sent chieftains more numerous and more honored than the others. And they came to Balaam and said to him, "Thus said Balak son of Zippor, do not, pray, hold back from going to me, for I will surely honor you greatly, and whatever you say to me I will do, and pray, go hex this people for me." And Balaam answered and said to Balak's servants, "Should Balak give me his household of silver and gold, I could not cross the word of Lord my God to do either a small thing or a great one. And now stay here you tonight, that I may know what the Lord may speak further with me." And God came to Balaam in the night and said to him, "If these men have come to call you, rise, go with them, but only the word that I speak to you shall you do." And Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his ass, and he went with the chieftains of Moab, and God's wrath flared because he was going with them. And the Lord's messenger stationed himself in the road as an adversary to him, and he was riding his ass, and his 2 lads were with him. And the ass saw the Lord's messenger stationed in the road, his sword unsheathed in his hand. And the ass swerved from the road and went into the field, and Balaam struck the ass to steer her back to the road. And the Lord's messenger stood in the footpath through the vineyards, a fence on one side and a fence on the other. And the ass saw the Lord's messenger and was pressed against the wall, and pressed Balaam's legs against the wall, and once more he struck her. And the Lord's messenger crossed over and stood in a narrow place in which there was no way to swerve right or left. And the ass saw the Lord's messenger and crouched down under Balaam, and Balaam's wrath flared, and he struck the ass with the stick. And the Lord opened the ass's mouth, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you should have struck me these 3 times? And Balaam said to the ass, "Because you have toyed with me, had I sword in my hand, by now I would have killed you." And the ass said to Balaam, "I am not your ass, upon whom you have ridden your whole life till this day. Had I ever been wont to do those to you?" And he said, "No." And the Lord unveiled Balaam's eyes, and he saw Lord's messenger stationed in the road, his sword unsheathed in his hand. And he prostrated himself and bowed down on his face. And the Lord's messenger said to him, For what did you strike your ass 3 times now? Look, I myself have come out of adversary, for the rope plunged before me. And as the ass saw me and swerved away from me these 3 times, had she not swerved away from me, by now it is you I would have killed, while her I would have let live. And Balaam said to the Lord's messenger, I have offended, for I did not know that you were stationed to meet me in the road. And now, if it is wrong in your eyes, let me turn back. And the Lord's messenger said to Balaam, Go with the men, but the word that I speak to you is alone shall you do. And Balaam went with Balak's chieftains, and Balak heard that he had come, and he went out to meet him to the town of Moab, which is at the edge of the territory. And Balak said to Balaam, Did I not assuredly send to call you? Why did you not get me? Go to me. Is it true that I cannot honor you? And Balaam said to Balak, Look, I have come to you now. Can I possibly speak anything? The word that God puts in my mouth, only then that will I speak. Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath Huzoth. And Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep and sent to Balaam and the chieftains who were with him. And it happened in the morning that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to Bamoth Baal, and he saw from there the edge of the people. Chapter 23. Balaam said to Balak, Build me here 7 altars, and ready me here 7 bulls and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered up bull and ram on each altar. And Balaam said to Balak, Station yourself by your burnt offering and let me go. Perhaps the Lord will chance upon me and will show me something that I may tell you. And he went off in silence, and God chanced upon Balaam, and he said to him, The 7 altars I have arrayed, and I have offered up bull and ram on each altar. And the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth, and he said, Go back to Balak, and thus shall you speak. And he went back to him, and look, he was stationed by his burnt offering, he and all the chieftains of Moab. And he took up his theme, and he said, From Aram did Balak lead me, the king of Moab, from the eastern mountains. Go curse me, Jacob, and I go doom Israel. What can I hex that El has not hexed? And what can I doom that the Lord has not doomed? For from the top of the crags do I see them, and from the hills do I gaze on them. Look, a people that dwells apart amongst nations, it is not reckoned, who has numbered the dust of Jacob, who counted the issue of Israel. Let me but die the death of the upright, and may my aftertime be like this. And Balak said, What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have done nothing but bless. And he answered and said, Why, that which the Lord puts in my mouth, only that do I keep to speak. And Balak said to him, Go with me, pray to another place, from which you will see him, only his edge will you see, but the whole of him you will not see, and hex him for me from there. And he took him to the lookouts field on the top of Pisgah, and he built 7 altars, and he offered up bull and ram on each altar. And he said to Balak, Station yourself here by your burnt offering, and I myself shall seek some chance. And the Lord chanced upon Balaam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, Go back to Balak, and thus shall you speak. And he came back to him, and there was stationed by his burnt offering, and the chieftains of Moab with him. And Balak said to him, What has the Lord spoken? And he took up his theme, and he said, Rise, Balak, and listen. Give ear to me, O Zippor's son. El is no man who would fail, no human who would show change of heart. Would he say and not perform? Would he speak and not fulfill it? Look, to bless I was taken, and he blessed, so I will not reverse it. He has beheld no harm in Jacob, and he has seen no trouble in Israel. The Lord his God is with him. The king's trumpet blasts in his midst. El, who brings them out of Egypt. like the wild ox's antlers for him. For there is no divining in Jacob, and no magic in Israel. Now be it said to Jacob and to Israel what El has brought. Look, a people like a lion arises, like the king of beasts, rears up. He will not lie down till he devours the prey, and blood of the slain he drinks. And Balak said to Balaam, Neither to curse shall you curse him, nor to bless you shall bless him. And Balaam answered and said to Balak, Did I not speak to you, saying, All that the Lord speaks, only that may I do? And Balak said to Balaam, Go pray, let me take you to another place. Perhaps it will be right in the eyes of the God, and you will curse him for me from there. And Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, which looks out over the wasteland. And Balaam said to Balak, Build me here 7 altars, and ready me here 7 bulls and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had said, and he offered up bull and ram on each altar. Chapter 24. And Balaam saw that it was good in the eyes of the Lord to bless Israel, and he did not go as on the times before to encounter omens, but turned his face to the wilderness. And Balaam raised his eyes and saw Israel dwelling by its tribes. And the Spirit of God was upon him, and he took up his theme, and he said, Utterance of Balaam, Beor's son, utterance of the man open-eyed, utterance of him who hears El saying, who the vision of Shaddai beholds, prostrate with eyes unveiled. How goodly your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Like palm groves they stretch out, like gardens by a river, like aloes the Lord has planted, like cedars by the water. Water drips from his branch, and his root in abundant waters. His king looms over Argog, and his kingship is lifted high. El, who brings him out from Egypt, like the wild ox antlers for him. He consumes nations his foes, and their bones he does crush and smashes his lions. He crouches, lies down like a lion, like the king of beasts, who can rouse him. Those who bless you are blessed, and your cursers are cursed. And Balak's wrath flared against Balaam, and he clapped his palms. And Balak said to Balaam, To hex my enemies did I call you, and look, you have done nothing but bless now 3 times, and so go flee to your place. I said I would surely honor you, and look, the Lord has held you back from honor. And Balaam said to Balak, Did I not speak to your messengers to whom you sent to me, saying, Should Balak give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not cross the word of the Lord to do either a good thing or a bad one from my own heart. That which the Lord speaks to me, it alone can I speak, and so I am about to go to my people. Let me counsel you what this people will do to our people in days to come. And he took up his theme, and he said, Utterance of Balaam, Beor's son, utterance of the man open-eyed, utterance of him who hears El's sayings, and knows what Elion knows. Shaddai, vision he beholds, prostrate with eyes unveiled. I see him, but not yet now. I gaze on him, but not in time close. A star steps forth from Jacob, a meteor arises from Israel, and smashes the brow of Moab, and the pate of all the Sethites. And Edom will be dispossessed, Syria dispossessed by its enemies. But Israel performs prowess, and Jacob holds sway over them, and destroys the city's survivor. And he saw Amalek, and he took up his theme and said, First of nations was Amalek, and at his last unto destruction. And he saw the Canaanite, and he took up his theme and said, Staunch is your settlement, and set it in the rock, your nest, but Cain will be for burning. How long will Ashur hold you captive? And he took up his theme and said, Woe, who can live more than El has set him, in ships from the hands of the Kittites. And they lay low Ashur, and lay low Aber, and he as well unto destruction. And Balaam rose, and went and returned to his place, and Balak too went on his way.